And welcome to another edition of Cornette's Commentary right here on Who's Slamming Who. This time is here with the Doctor of Downloads himself, Mr. James E. Cornette. Jimmy,
now,
what's going on?
Tommy, tell everybody last week wasn't my fault. There was a system error.
Your fault. The system we have stinks. What happened was we had over 10,000 hours of audio from the last 2 years, and I guess the system only holds a certain amount, so I will physically go in the system and delete a bunch of audio, but JC was willing and able to go last week. And
now, you didn't delete me, did you?
No.
In case this could be a big selling compilation disc at some point, all of many ramblings that we've had together, you and I, on our humble little podcast.
Very, very humble. No, actually, we have a separate thing with every audio save. Just in that system over on there, we deleted.
So you deleted plenty of bowling, right?
Oh, God, there's
just delete all the bowling. Okay, you know, I wanted to tell everybody last week I didn't get a chance to talk about several things. One, while I was gone to Toronto for the big Ring of Honor pay-per-view, which we're going to talk about. And by the way, folks, the fuck yous are coming, too.
All right.
Some big news. Martha Hart suing the WWE. Some big news, and there's a fuck you coming. I want to talk a little bit about the Ring of Honor pay-per-view, but while I was gone in Toronto, come to find out in Louisville, Kentucky, that we had a 4.7 earthquake on the Richter scale. At least that's what they thought it was. Then they found out it was just bowling. He tripped and fell off his front porch. So it made the news for a day or two, and then they found out what happened. But anyway, I was in Toronto. For anybody who's seen Death Before Dishonor 8 on pay-per-view, or any of the folks that were there in Toronto, and by the way, I enjoyed the shit out of Toronto, Canada. We went to the best buffet I've ever been to in my life, a place called Wasabi in Mississauga. And imagine a Chinese restaurant, a hibachi grill, and a sushi place, all you can eat, best food ever, of a huge variety, even at prime rib, everything. Huge dessert menu for $24 a head Canadian. I don't know what that works out to American, but it's around the same thing. Cheap anyway. Cheap for twice the price with this quality. One of the greatest grocery stores I've ever been to, wonderful hotel up there, and the wrestling fans were tremendous in Toronto. So we just had a great time and enjoyed meeting everybody. But for anybody who's seen this pay-per-view, anybody who was there, anybody that's read about it, you got to buy it. Go to Go Fight Live. It's still up. You can get it on demand. I have never been so thrilled. You know, once again, Ring of Honor keeps topping itself, and not only was this universally praised as one of the greatest shows from Ring of Honor of all time, whether it be pay-per-view, live event, or anything, but also it was the highest buy rate, the highest number of buys for any pay-per-view that Ring of Honor has yet produced, so we're headed in the right direction. It was up, I would say 30% or more from the Big Bang, and everybody was on the Internet message board on Ring of Honor, etc., praising it. But I got to talk about, there were several great matches. Christopher Daniels and Kenny Omega was great. Generico and Steen tore the house down with their grudge match. Obviously, the Briscoes and the Kings of Wrestling had a good old-fashioned Southern bloodbath. It looked like one of the old NWA Omni matches from the 70s. There was blood flying. Kerry Silken had to change his shirt after that match. He was sitting ringside. But everybody's been talking about the Ring of Honor World Title match between Tyler Black and Davey Richards. And I've got to say that these guys, I didn't think it was possible to top the Briscoes and the Kings of Wrestling, and they went out there after four people bleeding, fighting, furniture, everything you could imagine in a real brawl, and two guys went out and had a wrestling match and topped it. And I thought that was a tremendous endorsement of the Ring of Honor style and the Ring of Honor product. These guys, for over half an hour, I think it was 35 minutes, tore the house down, and it reminded me, Tommy, and I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, Jim Cornette's going over the top with his hyperbole, but when I watched Ric Flair and Ricky Steamboat in 1989 have those tremendous classic matches for the NWA World Title, I thought, this is as far as you can go. They went just far enough to be entertaining and still kept the aura of a contest. Any further and you wouldn't have believed they were fighting for something, maybe any less, and it wouldn't have been so entertaining, but Flair and Steamboat were the gold standard. And really, I've never seen anything since then that touched me in that same way. The WWE matches, WWF matches back then, to be honest, the arena's always lit so well. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The ring's always so clean. Everything's just so pristine. It doesn't have the aura of a real fight. Bret Hart and Steve Austin at that WrestleMania match really, it was WrestleMania, wasn't it? 97?
Yeah, 97.
Yeah, I'm sorry, somebody out there will correct me, but Bret Hart and Steve Austin, to me, reached that, but most WWE matches just too scrubbed and sanitized and clean. But when I watched Tyler Black and Davey Richards, it occurred to me that 20 years later, these guys are now the gold standard, or set the gold standard for, to me, what professional wrestling is. It was two guys having a contest for a world championship that was so entertaining. It wasn't independent wrestling. It wasn't guys doing spots and moves and going through a performance or a routine. It was two guys beating the piss out of each other in the most athletically entertaining way that I've seen in a long time. I could go on and rave, but do yourself a favor. Even if you get it for free, I'm not gonna blister you, because if you see this match, if you get this one for free, if you are that dishonest, you will buy all Ring of Honor pay-per-views in the future. It's that good. So don't miss it if you can. Tyler Black, Davey Richards, Toronto, June 19th. To me, the 21st century version of Ric Flair and Ricky Steamboat.
Wow. I actually want to check it out now.
Wait a minute. You mean to tell me that you weren't in front of your computer screen live? Tommy, your old friend and bosom buddy Jim Cornette involved in the hottest new promotion in the country today, and a great pay-per-view, and you did not order it live as it happened?
No, I'm sorry. I was watching something else, actually.
What were you doing? You weren't washing your hair. You sure weren't exercising. What the fuck else could you have been doing? Now, okay, I want everybody to write and blister Tommy Fierro for not ordering this pay-per-view, because that's just ridiculous.
They will, too. And
I want to get to some fan mail, because I got, a few great fan letters over the past week, but I want to talk about this lawsuit with the WWE and Martha Hart. Now, it seems to me, and obviously, you can't believe anything Jerry McDevitt says. He's a lawyer, so that immediately disqualifies him from telling the truth in any way, shape, or form, because he's a good lawyer. A good lawyer is even a bigger liar than a bad lawyer. So you can't really believe anything that comes out of Linda McMahon's mouth, because she's, I don't have anything against her personally, but she is a Republican, so you can't believe anything there. So I believe I got to side with the widow on this one. I got to believe until I'm proven wrong, until somebody proves that Martha Hart is wrong, I got to believe her. Now, I find it hard to believe that the WWE actually would have tried to get away for the past 11 years with selling Owen Hart's, likeness on these DVDs, because everybody gets royalties. I even get a royalty check. And you better believe, if I ever find out they've used anything that I'm entitled to a royalty on and I don't get a check, I'll have a lawyer next morning. But even people who have gone away, they used to call me in the office and say, Jim, do you know how to get a hold of this guy or that guy? Because we had a royalty check for $62 sitting there for them. And I go, yeah, I know how to find them, because they're in wrestling. I'm not surprised you people don't know how to find them. They're in the wrestling business. But Martha Hart ain't hard to find. And according to what her lawsuit is saying, not only does she not want the WWE to use any more Owen Hart videos, any more Owen Hart DVDs, sell any more Owen Hart stuff, but she is suing for back royalties, because they put out the Heart and Soul DVD, right?
Yeah.
They put out a lot of stuff with Owen Hart over the last 10 years. If she didn't get a check, now if she did get a check and we find this out, well, Martha, now I wish you wouldn't have done that. I support her. I think she has the right to say, I don't want my husband's name to have any way, shape, or form associated with the WWE. After all, they did kill him. I can see why she's hot. But if they have been selling this and not even sending her royalties, holy fucking shit. What kind of balls can you possibly have? You kill the guy, you lose a lawsuit. Actually, they profited on the lawsuit because they went back and sued the shackle manufacturer, so they're the only people in the world that can kill somebody and then profit off their death. But how can you kill somebody, Tommy, and then sell their videos and not give the widow a check? How can you possibly do that?
Doesn't sound right.
It doesn't sound right at all. So basically what I'm saying is, since the track record that each person associated with the WWE has of being either a Republican or a liar or a lawyer, which is basically all three the same thing, then I got to side with Martha until she's proven different, and I assume this will go to court. And if they've been selling the Owen Hart DVDs and all this other type of thing and not sending Martha Hart a check, I hope she ends up with the title to Titan Tower. I hope she ends up with a big plot of property in Stamford, Connecticut. I don't blame her. Owen Hart was a great wrestler, and his fans do deserve to see his videos, but I think she ought to be the one selling them.